Deep within the rugged Alaskan wilderness, far from the constant hum of modern civilization, stood a cabin unlike any other. It was the home of Noah Brown, the most mysterious and secretive member of the Alaskan bush people family. While his brothers and sisters built their lives around the traditional skills of survival hunting, fishing, and crafting shelters, Noah's path was entirely different. His world was one of invention, secrecy, and solitude. To the rest of the world, he appeared as the eccentric genius of the family, the mad scientist of the wilderness, always tinkering, always building something new, his mind endlessly occupied by unseen ideas. Yet even those closest to him, the very family who shared his world, knew very little about what truly went on behind the locked doors of his private retreat. For years, Noah's cabin was off limits. No one entered without permission, and few even dared to ask why. The door was always locked, the curtains drawn, and a feeling of mystery lingered in the air around it. Whispers began to spread among the Brown family. What was he hiding in there? What secret projects consumed his time? The cabin became a symbol of both fascination and unease, a place where questions far outnumbered answers. And when the day finally came for the family to step inside, what they discovered was far more astonishing than anyone could have imagined. From coded journals and hidden blueprints to survival caches and an undisclosed secret room, the truth inside Noah's cabin forever changed how his family and the world saw him. Noah Brown had always stood apart from his siblings. While they thrived in the simplicity of wilderness life, relying on instinct and skill, Noah's curiosity was more mechanical, more cerebral. His hands built machines instead of traps, and his thoughts often wandered to places no one else dared to imagine. He wasn't just surviving in the wild, he was trying to reinvent it. But that brilliance came with a cost: distance. His need for solitude built an invisible wall between him and the rest of the family. The cabin he built deep in the woods was more than shelter, it was his sanctuary, a space where creativity and secrecy coexisted. Unlike the main family home filled with laughter, noise, and constant activity, Noah's space was silent and still, a reflection of his inward focus. Those who walked by his cabin couldn't help but notice the details that set it apart. The windows were covered, the door locked tight, and no one was ever invited inside. Why such privacy? What was he protecting? Inside, the walls were lined with tools, sketches, and diagrams, H1, revealing a fragment of Noah's restless imagination. To him, it was a temple of creation. To others, it was a puzzle that begged to be solved. His siblings joked about his inventions, fantasizing that he might be building a time machine or something that could change the course of their lives. But behind those jokes was a deep and genuine curiosity. Why did Noah choose isolation over connection? Was he hiding something revolutionary or something dangerous? The cabin seemed alive with unspoken stories. Every creak of the wooden floorboards and flicker of light from within carried a sense of mystery. Some believed Noah was preparing for disaster, stockpiling supplies or building tools to withstand the unknown. Others thought it was emotional, a retreat where he could escape from the pressures of family and fame. But whatever the reason, the sense of secrecy only deepened the intrigue. His cabin represented more than just privacy. It became a symbol of the thin line between brilliance and loneliness. Between genius and withdrawal, every cabin tells a story, but Noah's was written in silence. From the outside, it looked like a simple rustic home: strong walls, a weathered roof, and a fire pit that spoke of quiet nights beneath the stars. Yet one detail stood out: there was a locked door that no one could open. Its hinges gleamed as if newly installed, its handle unmoving. The Brown family had grown used to Noah's secretive habits, but that door sparked questions that refused to fade. Why would a man who lived openly in the wilderness keep one place completely hidden? Some family members speculated playfully. Maybe Noah was building a robot to chop wood or hunt game. Others whispered darker possibilities. Was he constructing something dangerous? Or perhaps the door hid something deeply personal, a memory or trauma too painful to expose. Whenever they asked him directly, Noah simply smiled his mysterious smile and changed the subject. His silence spoke louder than any explanation. The locked door soon became more than wood and metal. It became a symbol of Noah himself, divided between the world he shared and the one he guarded. What lay beyond that barrier? And what would happen when it finally opened? When the family eventually stepped through that locked door, what they found stunned them. The room inside wasn't filled with clutter or hunting gear, it was covered in blueprints. Sheets of paper were pinned to the walls and stacked neatly across tables, each filled with precise sketches and coded notes. These weren't random doodles. They were designs for inventions that had never existed, machines powered by natural forces, water purifiers built from scrap, and survival tools that blended science and wilderness ingenuity. Every line was drawn with purpose, every mark measured with care. The family realized they were staring into the mind of a man who saw beyond the present. Was Noah designing for survival? Preparing for an uncertain future? Or was this the restless work of a visionary who couldn't turn his thoughts off? Some of the notes were written in code symbols and phrases only he could understand. Others carried warnings or cryptic messages, as though he foresaw dangers no one else recognized. It became clear that Noah's isolation wasn't aimless, it was driven by purpose. He was building, planning, and protecting something, perhaps even his family. Though they couldn't yet grasp from what. But the deeper they looked, the more the mystery grew. Beneath the floorboards and hidden panels, they discovered caches of supplies or tight food containers. Jars of herbs, handmade weapons, and survival gear arranged with military precision. It was as if Noah had been preparing for an event no one else believed would come. Why such secrecy? Why the hidden weapons and marked maps showing routes deep in the forest? Was he expecting danger, or simply ensuring he could protect the ones he loved? Each discovery painted a portrait of a man living with both brilliance and burden, foresight and fear. And just when they thought they had seen everything, they found the trunk. It sat against the back wall, covered in dust and time. When they opened it, what they saw wasn't mechanical or practical, it was deeply human. Inside were letters, drawings, and photographs, fragments of Noah's inner life. The trunk held memories, not machines. It revealed that behind the mystery and invention was a man who felt deeply, remembered everything, and guarded his heart just as tightly as he guarded his inventions. Noah. Braun's cabin was more than a workshop, it was a reflection of his soul. Every hidden compartment, every coded page, and every secret lock told the story of a man torn between sharing his brilliance and protecting his solitude. In the end, the greatest mystery wasn't what he built, but why he chose to build it alone. Why would Noah choose to keep these fragments of memory hidden from the very people to whom they belonged? Was his secrecy meant to shield them from pain, or was it his way of protecting himself? Among the trunk's contents were old notebooks from his childhood, their worn pages filled with sketches that hinted at the inventive mind he would one day become. Within those faded lines lay the imagination of a young boy who dreamed of creating something greater than what the wilderness could ever provide. The notes, written in the uncertain hand of a child, whispered of longing and unspoken desire that perhaps no one had ever dared to voice. Did Noah already sense that he was different, destined to see life through eyes unlike those around him? Inside the trunk were also letters, some written by family members long gone, their words carrying warmth, comfort, and guidance across the years. Others appeared to be Noah's own creations, letters never sent, thoughts never shared. Each one held emotions he had locked away, feelings too fragile to expose. Why had he chosen to write but not deliver them? Were these words of love, of regret, or of fear? Perhaps Noah believed that words left unsent were safer, preserved in silence rather than risked in exposure. At the bottom of the trunk lay a small collection of objects that seemed ordinary at first glance. Yet each carried deep meaning. A broken pocket knife, a faded toy, smooth river stones, and a handmade wooden cross, all simple items, yet each one was a vessel of memory. They were not treasures of gold or silver, but treasures of the heart, grounding Noah to moments long past. But why hide them away, sealed in darkness? Was remembering too painful, or did he fear that others would never understand the emotional weight these objects carried? The family stood speechless as they examined the trunk's contents. The Noah they thought they knew, the rugged, quiet man of the wilderness, had suddenly become someone far more complex. Here was a soul that felt deeply, a man who guarded his memories like fragile glass, terrified they might shatter if left in the open. That trunk was no ordinary box. It was a container of a life, a vessel holding moments frozen in time. And as silence settled over the family, one haunting question filled the air. What pain or fear had driven Noah to guard these memories in secret? What truths might emerge now that they had been brought to light? If the memory trunk revealed Noah Brown's heart, then what came next exposed the hidden corridors of his mind. In a corner of the cabin, tucked neatly in a wooden crate, the family discovered dozens of journals, some bound in leather, others in simple notebooks. At first glance, they seemed like ordinary diaries. But the more they examined them, the more they realized these were no ordinary writings. Each page was filled with symbols, codes, and cryptic drawings, all written in Noah's precise, almost obsessive hand. Sentences began clearly, then trailed into strings of strange symbols and numbers. Diagrams sprawled across the pages, arrows pointing in directions that made little sense. Some entries looked like riddles written only for himself. Was Noah trying to communicate with someone unseen? Or was he recording thoughts too complicated for the world to understand? Could these writings be warnings, or were they the reflections of a mind burdened by thoughts too complex to express plainly? The family attempted to read them aloud, but confusion quickly followed. The pages seemed written in a language known only to Noah. Why create such elaborate codes unless he had something crucial to conceal? If the journals were meant only for himself, why go to such effort to disguise their meaning? Certain entries hinted at survival, plans, maps, and routes through the wilderness marked with mysterious symbols. Others seemed to document experiments, inventions, and discoveries too intricate for others to follow. And then there were pages filled with confessions, emotions, hidden beneath cryptic phrases, fears buried under symbols. Was Noah confessing feelings he dared not speak? Was he leaving behind a trail of clues for someone with patience and understanding to one day uncover? The deeper the family delved, the more uneasy they felt. It was one thing to hide supplies or tools, but to hide one's thoughts in coded language revealed a man at war with himself. Perhaps Noah was afraid someone might one day uncover the truth about his heart. Or maybe he feared that his knowledge was too dangerous to share openly. These journals were both shield and mirror. They reflected Noah's brilliance while concealing the depths of his soul. Each symbol was a locked door, each page a puzzle begging to be solved. The family could only wonder, if anyone ever decoded Noah's writings, what truths would they find? Would they uncover genius or glimpse the quiet madness that sometimes shadows it? But the most startling discovery was yet to come. As the family inspected the cabin's walls, they noticed something odd. One section of the wall echoed hollow when tapped. It sounded different, as if it concealed a hidden space. What would drive Noah to build such a secret area in his own home? What was he protecting so fiercely? After careful effort, a board loosened in behind it lay an entire hidden room, small but perfectly constructed. It wasn't just a secret compartment. It was a secret world. The sight stunned them. Inside, the walls were lined with shelves holding jars, tools, and inventions in progress. A workbench was scattered with pieces of metal and wires twisted into strange forms. In one corner sat a chair facing a desk piled high with notebooks and unfinished devices. A small bedroll lay on the floor beside a lantern and empty food wrappers. The realization struck. Noah hadn't just worked here, he had lived here in secret. Was this room a workshop or a refuge? Did Noah retreat here to escape, to think, to build? Or was it a place of isolation, born of fear and loneliness? Some family members believed this was the mark of a visionary proof that Noah was preparing for something extraordinary. Others saw it as evidence of a man haunted by inner demons, building walls both literal and emotional. Why construct a hidden room unless one feared the outside world? What unseen dangers had Noah imagined? Every object in that space carried meaning. Every unfinished invention whispered of restless nights. Yet beneath the awe was a chilling realization. If Noah could hide an entire room from them, what else might he have concealed? The hidden room was more than wood and nails. It was Noah's mind made physical. A world within a world, where brilliance and secrecy intertwined. And as the family stood in silence, a single question echoed between them. Had they truly discovered all of Noah's secrets, or were they only beginning to uncover the surface? By the time they left the cabin, the family was shaken. The blueprints had shown his genius. The survival cache revealed a man preparing for unseen storms. The memory trunk had exposed a tender, guarded heart. The coded journals unveiled the restless brilliance of a mind that never rested. And the hidden room shattered every illusion they had held about who Noah truly was. They were left wondering, had they ever really known their brother at all? At first their reaction was, oh, how could one man create so much, plan so precisely, and hide so deeply? Yet that awe soon turned into unease. Why had he chosen secrecy over trust? Was Noah protecting them more, protecting himself from them? Some saw fear in his silence, perhaps the weight of being different in a family built on simplicity. Others saw courage, the mark of a man quietly preparing for a future no one else could envision. In truth, both might have been right. While they shared laughter around campfires, Noah had been fighting unseen battles alone, retreating into codes and shadows. Was his solitude a shield or a prison? Had they unknowingly allowed him to bear a burden meant to be shared? The discoveries inside the cabin were not just physical, they were emotional. Each item, each page, was a cry for understanding from a man who had lived between worlds. When the family finally stepped away from the cabin, their hearts were heavy. They had entered expecting to find curiosities, but left with a revelation. The cabin was not just Noah's shelter. It was a vault of secrets, a museum of memories, and a fortress of solitude. The blueprints showed his imagination, the survival stash his caution, the trunk his heart, the journals his mind. In the hidden room his soul. Noah's life was a balance between two worlds, the one people saw and the one he hid. His secrecy was not only born of fear, but of identity. He lived differently, saw differently, and created differently. While others sought comfort in community, Noah found peace in solitude. Was that loneliness or was it strength? Perhaps it was both. The cabin itself seemed alive with unspoken answers, its walls echoing the determination of a man who worked endlessly in silence. In the end, the family realized that Noah's story was not only about secrecy, but about the complexity of being human. Every person carries hidden rooms within their hearts, some filled with joy, others with pain, and still others with dreams too fragile to expose. Noah's cabin was simply the outward form of his inner world. It shocked them. Yes, but it also reminded them that true understanding comes not from seeing everything, but from learning to trust what remains unseen. As they walked away, one truth lingered. The cabin had revealed much. Yet Noah's essence remained partly a mystery, and perhaps that was how he wanted it. Because some lives are not meant to be fully understood, they are meant to be felt. Noah Brown's greatest legacy was not just what he built or hid, but what he left behind. A reminder that every soul carries secrets that no one else can ever truly know. As the family descended the narrow trail away from Noah's cabin, the forest around them seemed changed. The same trees that once whispered peace now echoed with questions. Each creaking branch and rustling leaf carried the weight of what they had uncovered. They no longer walked through just a patch of wilderness. They were moving through the landscape of Noah's soul, a place they had never truly entered before. The siblings spoke little. Each one was lost in thought, trying to piece together the man they had known all their lives with the man whose secret world they had just unearthed. The quietest among them finally broke the silence, wondering aloud whether Noah had ever wanted them to find all of this. Maybe the hidden room, the coded journals, and the locked trunk were never meant to be discovered. Maybe they were Noah's way of holding on to control, his final sanctuary in a world that had never fully understood him. Yet there was another possibility. Perhaps Noah had known they would find it all one day. Maybe the hidden journals and cryptic codes were not barriers, but breadcrumbs. Small clues left for them to follow when the time was right. Could it be that, in his own mysterious way, Noah was still reaching out to them? That he wanted to be known, but only after he was gone, when the fear of being misunderstood no longer haunted him. Days turned into weeks, and the family couldn't shake the lingering pull of the cabin. They returned often, carefully sorting through Noah's belongings, cataloging each invention, sketch, and note. Every item told a fragment of a larger story. They found mechanical blueprints that hinted at devices designed for energy preservation, others that looked like early prototypes of tools far ahead of their time. There were sketches of new kinds of shelters, maps marked with coded landmarks, and even notes about survival strategies that combined scientific precision with instinctive wisdom. The more they uncovered, the clearer it became that Noah's life had not been one of isolation for isolation's sake, had been a life of purpose. He was not simply hiding from the world. He was preparing for something bigger than himself. But what was that something? Was he trying to protect the family from a future he foresaw? Or was he creating a world where his ideas could live on, free from interference? Even as they debated, one thing became undeniable. Noah Brown had never truly left them. His mind, his heart, and his soul lived on in every coded word and every hidden mechanism. It was as though the cabin itself had become his voice, still whispering, still guiding long after he was gone. In time, the family decided not to dismantle the hidden room. They left it just as it was, the bedroll, the scattered tools, the notebooks on the desk. It felt wrong to disturb it, as though doing so would break something sacred. Instead, they preserved it as a testament to the brother they had misunderstood, a quiet genius whose solitude was his form of prayer. Visitors to the homestead would sometimes ask about the room. Though the family spoke gently of Noah's brilliance, they never revealed everything. Some mysteries, they realized, were meant to remain intact. Still at night, when the lanterns flickered and the forest went silent, thoughts of Noah returned. His siblings would picture him in that secret chamber, sketching by candlelight. His eyes filled with quiet focus, his hands moving with both precision and urgency. They imagined him pausing now and then, staring into the dark, perhaps hearing the faint laughter of his family in the distance. Did he ever wish to join them? Or did he believe that his work was too important to pause? Over time, what had begun as shock turned into reverence. The cabin was no longer a place of confusion, but a place of reflection. The family realized that every invention, every code, and every secret carried a lesson not just about Noah, but about the human condition itself. Some people expressed themselves openly, through words and actions. Others, like Noah, expressed themselves through creation, through silence, and through the things they leave behind. Years later, when the family spoke of Noah, they no longer did so with sorrow or frustration. Instead, they spoke with gratitude. They understood now that Noah's solitude was not rejection, it was devotion. He had loved deeply, but in his own way, a way that required distance and quiet. His genius was not just in his inventions, but in his vision of what could be a world where simplicity met imagination, and where silence held as much truth as speech. And so, the cabin remained, standing alone in the wilderness. Weathered yet strong, its walls, once mysterious, became symbols of both genius and vulnerability. The hidden room, the coded journals, the trunk of memories, became part of a larger legacy, a legacy that taught them that even in solitude, connection endures. Even in secrecy, love remains. In the end, Noah's greatest creation was not a machine or an invention, it was the story he left behind. A story of a man who lived quietly, thought deeply, and dared to dream beyond the boundaries of the visible world. His family came to understand that some people are not meant to be fully understood in life, they are. It's meant to be discovered in memory. As the years passed, and the forest slowly reclaimed the edges of the cabin, one truth continued to echo through the generations. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved, only cherished. Noah Brown's life was one of those mysteries, beautiful, haunting, and eternal. And in that quiet wilderness, where invention met memory and solitude met faith, his spirit lived on, whispering softly through the wind. Not everything hidden is lost. Some things are simply waiting to be found.